And it's your feed bag. Here, I want to.
Okay.
Yep. Leaving my spray. What rhymes with hay? Yeah. I think the guy who played drums on this just died. The guy who played Mick Shrimpton, was that the guy who...
Yeah, we were talking about that last week, right?
Yeah, he just died in real life. They have announced Spinal Tap 2. Almost 40 years after. It'll probably be 40 years by the time this is out. They've got Rob Reiner back. He was, of course, played the director Marty DeBurgi in Spinal Tap. 1984, that movie came out. And it's not for everyone, but it is absolutely a cultural artifact for a certain sense of humor. It really was kind of the birth of the mockumentary, was all those movies that do that kind of film. Even things like The Office owe that to Spinal Tap, because there were a lot of people at the time, they didn't shine a spotlight on the fact that it was a fake documentary. So people thought it was a real band, and of course they went out and toured and all that. But they got everybody back involved. Rob Reiner, Michael McKean, Christopher Guest, and Harry Shearer are all going to do Spinal Tap 2. And I'm kind of surprised, because it what do they always say, if you take something that's that popular and do a sequel to it, no matter how soon or late after, you run the risk of ruining the first one, because people will associate something less than funny with it. And
what's a good comedy sequel? I can't think. Sequels...
I mean, Wayne's World 2 wasn't as popular, but I thought it was funny.
I thought that
I
was
didn't think
funny.
it was bad.
It wasn't bad. It was, definitely rehashing some of the same jokes, but there's some really, really funny moments in it. I love the fight scene where they switch from subtitles to overdubbing their dialogue, which was very funny.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, Ace Ventura 2 Pet Detective.
Didn't like When Nature Calls.
Yeah, When Nature Calls.
Didn't care for that one so much.
It's got some moments that are pretty funny, but overall, it just didn't hit the same way.
But, Rob Reiner is a longtime director, and his first movie was This Is Spinal Tap. So he's coming back. He will direct the sequel and play Marty DeBurgi, who was the guy that was interviewing these guys.
I like Ghostbusters, too. A lot of people don't know.
I don't care for that one as much.
I like it. But I saw that one before I saw the first one, so I was also a little kid. I was happy to be at the theater seeing Ghostbusters.
Sure. So Spinal Tap 2, they don't know when it'll come out. First one came out in 1984. It is part of the Library of Congress, and it is part of the National Film Registry as well. So I don't know if these guys are bored, or it can't be money. These kinds of, you can't get paid a ton of money doing a movie like that again, but who knows? Unfortunately, Fred Willard is gone, and even though he had a small part in Spinal Tap, he's not available to do anything else. There were a lot of very funny, amazing cameos in Spinal Tap. Howard Hessman is dead, too. He played the manager of the other band in town that was playing the Enormo Dome or whatever, while Spinal Tap was doing an Air Force base. But Fred Willard was in it, and Howard Hessman. Paul Schaefer, he was Artie Fufkin, I believe, in that. I don't know if any of these people will come back. But you remember their songs and their albums. Smell the Glove was very, very popular. Big Bottom, Hellhole. Mm-hmm. And they've played real gigs.
Oh, yeah, they've toured.
Tony Hendra is gone. He was the guy that played their manager. So I don't know what the... I don't know what the premise of the sequel will be. They've just made the announcement that all the principals are back on board.
I imagine it'll be their ups and downs through the years, like any band has had, in a humorous fashion. That'd be my guess if I had to. I don't think they're going to do a musical or anything.
And basically all of a lot of the scenes in Spinal Tap were taken from conversations they had with bands about unfortunate scheduling. They were all kind of anecdotes that real bands gave them. Tom Petty told them about when they had heard about Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers got too stoned to find the stage. And so there's that scene in Spinal Tap where they can't find the stage because, they're lost in the stairwells or whatever.
Well, also with the guts of some of those venues, even if you're not stoned, it can be difficult to find the stage sometimes.
Right.
Because they're like fortresses. especially when there's no windows, you get very turned around and disoriented backstage at some venues.
Sting has said publicly, he said, I've watched Spinal Tap 50 times, and every time I don't know whether to laugh or cry because so much of that movie is exactly what happens when you're doing live shows. You'll recall Sting's Stonehenge phase early in his solo career. So the film is going to be released March 19th, 2024. That is 1 month before the original movie's 40th anniversary. Came out in April of 84, I believe. So, anyway, I think
I trust those guys to put out a funny movie.
Yeah, I think Rob Reiner restarted Castle Rock Pictures. Remember that was they produced Seinfeld back in the day, and that was his company. I think he might have relaunched Castle Rock, and so he wants to start at the beginning with Spinal Tap 2. Tap 2, I don't know what it's going to be called.
Two Tap 2 Spinal.
2 Tap 2 Spinal is what it's going to be. Yeah.
You know, good comedy sequel? Austin Powers 2.
Is that The Spy Who Shagged Me?
Yeah, The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Yeah, I bailed after that. I didn't see the one with...
You didn't see Goldmember?
No, didn't see that.
Did
he do a fourth?
No. He did he did the 3.
Somebody texted me to ask if you were watching the Pentaveret.
I have not watched it yet.
This person told me it was hilarious.
Lot,
yeah,
so. I do want to watch it though. I want to give Michael Myers. I want to give Mike Myers a chance because that dude was one of the icons of comedy for me growing up.
Yeah.
Between Wayne's World and So I Married an Axe Murderer and Austin Powers, I just love the guy. So I'm going to give him another chance. He missed on one movie and then went away. It was a big miss. Love Guru was a big miss. But Adam Sandler has made a career out of big misses.
Yeah, I guess. You know what else? You know who... Forget it. Yes. I was trying to set up another big misses in the Medea movies.
Okay. A lot of sequels there.
I was trying to watch a horror movie over the weekend.
A horror movie?
Horror. And I was scrolling through Netflix, and Medea's Boo 2 popped up. I said, I hate Netflix. Y'all want to charge people to have their own account, and you provide content like this? Like your filters didn't catch Medea's Boo 2 in the horror section. I was so pissed.
That's not a filter. That's an algorithm serving you what you may have watched.
Yes.
No, that's not Netflix messing up. That's Netflix knowing you really well.
I was going to say, these things only, it's like people get mad at computers. Computers only know what people put into them. Mm-hmm. And the same with algorithms and data, right? This is your Netflix going, this guy doesn't want a real horror movie. All he watches is Surviving R. Kelly and Medea movies. I mean,
don't watch just Medea movies.
So what horror movie did you watch?
I ended up watching Nostalgia because the movie I used to watch when I was a kid was 13 Ghosts, and it used to scare the crap out of me. Now I think it's comical because the ghosts are so funny.
I mean, I know a lot of people will talk about 13 Ghosts. It's not as bad as people. At least
I didn't say it was bad. I just said it's funny now.
Yeah, a lot of people thought it was stupid, but
like the boobies at the time when I saw them, I'm like, oh wow, I get to see real boobies on TV. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, they weren't even real.
They were like bolt-ons.
Yeah. So I thought I was getting away with something, so that was part of the allure. And then the ghosts were actually real scary. That was and then people get sliced up in the little glass house. I'm like, oh, the effects aren't as bad as I thought they were. But watching it in the dark is a whole new level.
Critics didn't like it. It flopped to the box office. But if you see it, it's
not awful.
It's a remake. But I mean, obviously, the original one is I think it was black and white. They weren't going to do anything super gory. But yeah, it's okay. Part of that has endured. Let me give you some money here, as promised, a chance for you to go fund yourself. Got a couple weeks left on this, so plenty of chances every single day to win this money. It's $1,000, every one of these keywords, so listen closely. I hope you win. Good luck.
The Buzzard wants you to go fund yourself and score $1,000. Enter the nationwide keyword SPRING at WMMS.com. That's SPRING. Enter it now at WMMS.com. And good luck from Buzzard Radio.
On the subject of having a hard time on tour, people are starting to worry about John Bon Jovi. If you've seen any of the viral videos that people have filmed him,
Is
it
he
stops.
living on a prayer by chance?
Well,
Doom, 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 doom.
he's having a really hard time singing, apparently. He's having some significant vocal issues. I think that he has mentioned that maybe it's I don't think that he's addressed it head on, but I know he had COVID, and I think something left something in his lungs, and maybe he's having a hard time hitting these notes. But unfortunately, the videos that have been going around over the past couple of weeks have been along the lines of, boy, what's wrong with John Bon Jovi?
But he's at least getting halfway there, right?
Yes,
notes?
he's halfway there. Some people think that maybe he needs to take a break. There was a video you might have seen a couple of weeks ago. He did Wanted Dead or Alive, and boy, he was struggling to hit any of the notes. And, obviously, it's a sliding scale because as artists get older, especially if they kind of came from that hairband thing where back in the day they were hitting notes that would break glass, like Poundcake's mom can do. Mm-hmm. They were hitting those really high notes, and obviously you're not going to hit those anymore. So you're either going to throw it to the audience, you're going to drop it an octave to where you can hit it. Maybe more harmonizing with the band than actually hitting those
Yeah,
notes.
you have a backup singer that just happens to be able to hit that note.
In the exact
Yeah.
same register. This seems to be different than that because Bon Jovi can sing.
Hey, you might just need to take a break.
He might need to take a break. They started their Nashville show the other night with Living on a Prayer. And
Oh, man, that'd be great.
It doesn't make a difference if we're making all time. We got each other in that sun.
Is there something else playing?
sorry, hold on.
I was like, wow, something is wrong with him.
He's singing the
freestyling.
carnival
I'm
music.
Talking about
I'm
13
sorry.
ghosts. He's possessed by
But he's holding somebody's arm in the front row, and he's
Yoko Ono.
Do what we've got. It doesn't make a difference if we're making all night. We got each other in that sun for love. We'll give it a shot.
Sounds like Drunk Sue.
Yeah, then you let the audience
Yeah.
do. Whoa!
I mean, that's
I give this guy credit for still being out there. Of all the bands from the 80s you thought would still be around, I guarantee you nobody had Bon Jovi on their bingo card. You can make a case that maybe like Def Leppard would still be around, and they are. They're doing great. Because they were smart and made that transition. They're like, our audience is getting older. We got to cater to them. Bon Jovi, same thing. But he's having a tough time out there. So whatever's going on, our best to
Still looks
the
great,
Bon
though.
Jovi crew.
he still looks like John Bon Jovi.
Yeah,
Like,
he
he's
let his hair
looking
go
good,
gray,
yeah.
and I mean, he's doing the thing.
Yeah, just take some time off for you. Let your vocal cords heal up, and maybe you'll be able to get back out there and do it.
Something.
Do it right.
Come on, man.
Or
not.
yeah, or not. That's got to feel kind of weird though when you see a sickly Phil Collins. He can't move around the stage, but he sounded good.
Yeah. And technically, that's all you need him for. If
Yeah.
he was just the drummer, they'd be like, I can't do it anymore. But if you can sit there and sing, you're like Donald Fagen. If you listen on iHeartRadio, you can always leave us quick messages there on the talkback button.
So you guys were talking about Halsey, and a lot of times when you guys talk about stuff, I'll Google search to see if there's any more random information I need to know. And one of the top searches, how it'll give you a bunch of searches that you may be interested in, was what is Halsey's problem? And I just thought that was funny.
What is Halsey's problem? We were talking about this last week. She got a lot of problems. She's sick. She's not having a good time.
What's going on with her? I was out that day.
You were here.
Was I?
Oh, you were out
I was
Wednesday.
out Wednesday, yeah.
Well, Halsey,
got
ever since she had her kid, she's like, I want to go out on tour. Sorry, they. I got to remember that.
Oh,
They want to
went
go out
they?
on tour. Halsey is a they. They want to go out on tour. They have a lot of health problems. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, where if you want to read up on that, that'll mess you up on its own. Sjogren's syndrome, something called mast cell activation syndrome, POTS, which our own Erica Lawrence got. And, I think for a lot of doctors or people who are diagnosing things, POTS seems to be like kind of the catch-all du jour. And so Halsey's doctors are trying to figure out what's going on. But after having a son named Ender, whatever, right? Doesn't affect me. We always have opinions on what people name their kids, and I'm not quite sure why.
Some of the names are just so stupid. They're stupid names.
Yeah.
They got some stupid
It doesn't
names.
change my life.
Does Halsey did Halsey have a baby? Because that's what they call like babies now that are born to non-binary parents.
A baby?
A baby.
Oh, I don't know, but that's awesome.
Really?
I love babies.
Yeah, it's a
well,
baby.
because the baby is not gender neutral.
Yes, but if you come from a gender neutral parent,
But it doesn't
you're
change.
part
No, but
non-binary.
it doesn't change. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't change her sex. It changes. She wants to be gender neutral. That's
Yeah,
fine.
her gender
It doesn't-
identity is different than her.
Right. It doesn't change that she's a woman. So it doesn't change. So the baby's sex. Sex and gender are two different things.
Let me shut up before the Rainbow Mafia cancels me because I don't understand it.
How do you?
Yeah,
not
you do.
understand
You know,
two
sex and
different
gender are
things?
two different things.
No, if you are non-binary or if you're a they,
That's
you
how.
are,
That's
you are
how
not
you,
a sex.
No, that's how you identify your gender. That's got nothing to do with your sex. This is what jams people up on the whole trans
I'm
subject.
Right.
I'm
Sex
jamming
and
up.
gender are two different things.
Two different things. That's like saying your head is your brain. You understand your brain is not your head, right? It's just in your head.
Okay.
That's why you see they go gender as a social construct, because it just pertains to how people define femininity and masculinity, right? Your sex is how you physically come out. So however Halsey defines herself gender-wise, got nothing to do with the fact that she's a woman who gave birth to a kid, to a son. Baby is still hilarious, though. I still think that's funny.
It sounds like you had a pirate baby. They be my baby.
Me booty. Hey.
Yeah, hey,
That's
General Booty, reporting for duty. It's my duty to please that booty. So, anyway, if you do a search and it says, what's Halsey's problem? There are a lot of them. Britney Spears announced she had a miscarriage.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
That's why you don't announce it on Instagram like that. That's why everyone took it down.
I know, but she was very excited, and
She
she's going to
doesn't
get married, and
I think she had.
If only there was somebody to step in and control things for her so she didn't make silly mistakes like that.
But you still have managers and agents just because you don't
what's
have.
that got to have to do with your being pregnant, though?
Because most of these celebrities don't run their social media account. They
What
have
does
a
that have to?
publicist.
Oh, you mean her posting it?
Yes.
Well, she was excited. Anyway, she had a miscarriage, and she announced, by the way, in her home state of Mississippi, she'd be sent to prison for murder. So I guess it's a really good thing that she lives in California.
Does she have the key to the city in her Mississippi town?
She don't even have a key to her own house, man.
It doesn't mean she doesn't have a giant key to the city.
I just imagine where she lives. Everyone would say, "Oh, this is where Britney Spears grew up." No.
I
I'm
don't
sure.
know. I mean, she might be the biggest thing to come out of her town. And where's she from? Middle of nowhere, Mississippi,
Yes,
right?
I'm saying it's she's a sweet Southern girl.
Macomb, Mississippi is where she's from.
People are not highly educated at all.
A town of 12,000 people.
Still bigger than Oberlin.
As opposed to all the brainiacs on this show.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's that got to do with where she's from?
I'm just saying Mississippi has one of the lowest the highest dropout rates.
Yeah, Mississippi's got a lot of the lowest things, and
Yeah, that sucks.
except for infant mortality, real high on that. So they're killing it down there, if you pardon the pun. But anyway, so that's a bummer for her, because if you follow her on social media,
That's all she wants.
had been very, very excited for that. But pregnant moms, by and large, can be very, very superstitious for just that reason. They go, I didn't tell anybody until I was through my first trimester, because you don't know what's going to happen. So they err on the side of caution. Britney opted not to do that, but it's still sad for her. Alan, do you think Halsey's baby smelled like mustard? I don't know. Listen.
Until they wash it off.
Probably till they wash it off. Poundcake's got his own concerns with Halsey that have nothing to do.
Well, it was a baby, so it was probably honey mustard.
Just me?
But no, I need to know why. Why does a baby?
I feel like
Billy's on a roll. Don't ask.
I need to know.
Oh no,
I don't want you to tell me, but I need to know.
Google it.
I've got to take a break. If you want to text for something, 35192. If you're listening on the iHeartRadio app, you can always leave us messages there. Messages there was the word I was trying to say on the talkback. And we will be back after these.
The Alan Cox Show on